Ladies, gentlemen, and friends beyond the binary, welcome to the the Discourse, because it's Fridays now. It's Friday. The Monday Discourse for Friday, March 3rd, 2023. 3/3/23, everybody. Happy Friday. Hopefully everybody is looking forward to a great weekend out there in internet land. I am looking forward to a long weekend of finishing a video if I don't finish it today. But other than that, I got good plans. I think I've got some Saturday night plans. I've got some Sunday plans. So it's shaping up to be a decent weekend. Plus, just a lot of random work in the middle of it. I'm also going to apparently be on... I don't know the time yet. Let me check. Let me check since we're here. But I do know that Jesse Gender's having a stream this weekend, and I want to. They're putting together a schedule for it, but I don't exactly know when the scheduling is going to be. They haven't put up the schedule yet, so I don't know what I'm going to be on, but I'm supposed to be on tomorrow, so we'll find out. Hi, my name is Tristan. I'm the host of Step Back at stepbackhistory.com. And I'm also the host of, co-host of It's Probably Not Aliens at probsnotaliens.com. I stream on Fridays at noon, which is what you're watching right now. And I also, if you want to support my work, you can go to nebula.tv/stepback. You can support my stuff by signing up for Nebula. So you can support my work by signing up for a very cheap streaming service that gets you a lot of cool free stuff from a lot of creators I know you like, including Mia, who will be joining us in just a moment. If you want to support me more directly, you've got patreon.com/stepbackhistory. You've got Twitch Prime. If you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you get one free Twitch Prime subscription every month. And if you choose me for a month, I'll always be grateful. And of course, super bats. Wow, I don't think we have super bats yet. Super chats, bits, Twitch subscriptions, all those things. Very welcome, very loved. My most recent video is called There Has Always Been Trans People, which does mean I did not release a video in February because... as you will see, hopefully patrons and Nebulons will see in the next few hours that that this video is a real chunker. It's a biggie, and it has every part of the process has taken multiple times longer than it normally does. So hopefully, in early March you will get my February video right away. Yeah, good stuff. My next video coming out is called. Okay, fine, I'll talk about Ancient Aliens. Or Ancient Apocalypse. So it's an episode about Ancient Apocalypse, and it is an episode-by-episode response to Ancient Apocalypse, and then also gets into the problem of pseudo-history, pseudo-archaeology, and, you know, all that fun stuff. So if you're a big fan, if you really like the podcast, and you wanted, like, what if a Probs Not Aliens episode happened, but with step back flavor, then you'd probably get what comes out in this video. So I hope you like it. If you want to submit questions for streams, we've got a fair chunk of questions built up. So I'm going to put a link in the chat if anybody wants to... Oh, yeah. If you want to sign up for Nebula right now, there's a interview with Noam Chomsky available for a video that I'm working on after this video is done. So if you want to go see me talk to Noam Chomsky for 40 minutes, you can do that right now on Nebula. If you want to submit questions to the stream, you can go to stepbackhistory.com/streamquestion. It's somewhere on the screen here, and I just put a link in the chat. And most importantly, if there is somebody who it is their first time watching this stream, please say hello. We have a really great Twitch and YouTube chat community, and there is a bot that does cross chat, so you can talk on any platform and people will be there, and you will be seen, and you will have a great time. And awesome conversations are always happening in the chat while we talk about we have the standard section where we talk about something really depressing with the news. We're going to have we're definitely going to have a section where we talk about Star Trek, and we have a section where Mia's here, so maybe there won't be the section where I talk about tabletop role-playing games, but we'll see. Anyways, if you're new, say hi. In the meantime, I'm going to call the Queen of the North, Mia Calder, because it's cold. I'm very funny. I'm an extremely funny individual.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, this works. Wonderful. I just need to bump up my volume a lot. Hi. It's
Hi.
been ages since we've done this because
I
we're
know.
all extraordinarily busy and sick.
Yeah, so yeah, I have to apologize. My B's and D's are going to be a little bit broken because I functionally do not have a nose. My nose does not exist right now.
Oh no. You've been denosed.
Yep. I tried that trick on my son, and then he did it on me, and now I don't have a nose anymore. It's very troublesome.
One of the dangers of parenthood.
Yeah, they don't know that shit's real. We always made a joke about it, thinking it was fake, but no, it's a real thing.
No, it's extraordinarily serious business, and
Yeah.
they don't understand it.
And your uncle was actually able to sever his finger too.
Exactly.
How you been? I actually was
That was
last night
fucked up.
trying to get caught up, and I ended up watching your video. You'll find this very amusing. I was watching your video on the TV about Andrew Tate, who I just found out might have lung cancer, which is wild.
Okay.
Apparently,
Wild.
there was some leaked doctor's report that he's getting like an emergency biopsy in his lung. So it turns out that all those cigars he smokes are going to catch up with him, I guess.
Wow. What a huge surprise.
Yeah. Turns out that a diet of red meat and smoking isn't good for your body. Anyways.
Turns out, who knew?
Yeah. New surprise. So what happened? So I'm trying to get caught up on my Nebula backlog, and I was cleaning up baby toys and putting my living room together because a baby goes through it and destroys everything every single day. So I was like, I try to rotate out the toys to make it more interesting for him and all that kind of stuff while he was sleeping, because my wife was out at like a powerful networking event. And I was listening to you talk about the crisis in masculinity, and I was like, I was just like, I'm doing the least masculine activities right now.
That's good, though.
Yeah, I know.
You're solving the crisis.
It was just very funny that I was like, you were talking about like all the like traditional masculine behaviors and all the like alpha male Chad stuff, and I'm like, should I let him play with the cow that sings, or should I give him the little remote control that sings songs in French? And so yeah, just
the remote control that sings in French.
Every time we can buy a toy that is either French or bilingual, we buy it. And so we do have like this. So this is this parenting trick, everybody. Sometimes you can get babies all the toys they want in the world, and it doesn't matter because the only thing that they want is whatever you have in your hand. So if it's a cell phone, if it's a remote control, whatever it is, they want that instead of all the other things that you got them to play with, including as a test, we bought a decoy remote control, the exact same remote control for our TV, just with no batteries in it, for him to play with, and he still only wants the ones that we are using that have it in them.
Yeah.
So
because that's the one you're using.
Yeah.
That's the good one.
Yeah. And the other test we have before is we bought a toy remote control that does baby. Like, it sings songs. It's a French toy that sings songs teaches him his numbers and everything like that. Still, not as interesting as the spoon you are currently eating cereal with.
Fucking adorable. I love this.
Currently eating cereal with. Like, you are trying to... There's so many meals now that I've had to eat where I'm like, I gotta eat this because he'll start crying if he doesn't get to play with my spoon in the next 5 minutes.
That's why I have... Yeah, you gotta have, like, spare spoons to just, like, surrender.
Yeah, if you ever want to feed him, you have to use a decoy spoon, where you have to have it, because he'll want, if you try to put it in his mouth, he'll try to grab the spoon so that he can flip it over or whatever. So you have to like give him a spoon to hold so that he can be distracted by that spoon so that you can sneakily put food in his mouth.
Good.
Parenting is very
Excellent.
fun. And also every day you have to sweep the floor because babies basically eat like Cookie Monster, where all the food just goes, instead of going into their body, it goes onto the floor. Because they do stuff like he'll pick up a fork or a spoon, but like he's still learning how to grab things. So he'll like try to eat food by like grabbing a spoon like this and being like like picking up it by the end with his thumb and forefinger. Anyways, all of that is to say, I was doing all of that while listening to the Crisis in Masculinity while while cleaning up baby toys. It was very fun.
I was looking for, actually, like in a similar vein. I was watching your video on that. There's always been trans people, like rewatching it for some reason, because it's good.
Yay.
While also trying to order estrogen here,
Excellent.
because there's like a massive estrogen shortage,
Oh my.
and like I'm this close to be out of estrogen, and it's like all the warehouses are empty, and trans people estrogen is very like low down on the sort of priority list for
The hardest E to get your hands on.
exactly. Yeah, they prefer to give that E to like women in menopause and stuff. So I was
you're
doing
just
that. So
chugging
like
soy
while
milk.
doing, yeah, no, it's soy milk, soy sauce, and fucking grapefruit time.
Yeah.
It's like I'm 18 years old again.
Oh my goodness.
That was a good shit.
I'm sorry about that. I'm having.
You don't have to sorry. It happens.
No, it sucks because I am dealing with a very similar issue, which is that every single day I have to go to like 3 or 4 different grocery stores and pharmacies looking for formula, and there isn't any. So.
Do you still have a formula shortage? In the States, like in the North America region.
So Canada did get hit with one. Like, so America got hit with a very bad one specifically because they deregulated it so much that they had a listeria breakout in one of their major production facilities and basically had to take like a fuckload of it off the market.
That's not good.
Yeah, it turns out between that and East Palestine, it turns out maybe regulation might be good after all. Anyways, Canada had...
Maybe there's a reason for all that red tape.
But that was compounded with the supply chain issues. Canada did not have the factory issue, but did have the supply chain issues. But what's happening now is that, and another fun parenting fact you learn is that once you start giving babies formula, they their stomach gets used to a specific brand of the formula, and if you deviate off of that, it makes them sick. So,
oh no.
So there is formula in every store I go to, but getting the right brand and also for the like age level that is appropriate for him, which is rare because he's like a little bit slow on eating solid food. So we have to get the like toddler formula. That's a little bit harder to get. So it's like an absolute fucking nightmare to find this. And I don't have a car, so I don't live in a car friendly city. So I'm like walking around. Like I think I'm like getting in like, I got like 15,000 steps yesterday trying to find formula.
God.
So
that's good exercise though.
Yeah.
You're getting them steps.
Yeah, and he's gonna have to learn how to wean very fast, out of necessity very soon. But yeah, that's the main situation. Hopefully, it will be resolved. We have some backup, but now we have to get some for the daycare because the daycare needs a supply as well. So that's our next step.
Your current quest.
Yeah, but I imagine that like dealing with shortages like that, it's annoying.
Yeah, I mean you know because you were dealing with it.
Baby estrogen, otherwise known as baby as formula.
Yeah, estrogen, also known as trans formula.
Trans formula. Yo, if it came in like a protein powder, like if you just have it mixed up in a bottle, because I think it's pills. You don't have to inject it, right?
Yeah, there is injectable, but there are pills. I have a gel, which I fucking hate. I don't know why they gave me a gel, but I have a gel. But like yeah, it's fine.
Does London, Ontario not have some kind of bus or tram system or a GO transit system? It does have a bus system. It's just that the buses run like one bus runs every half hour, and it would cost me $3 to do that, or I could just take an hour-long walk and stop by 3 grocery stores. That's basically it. Like I'm looking like it's all in one area. It's just if I wanted to go downtown, I could take the bus though. And
you're trapped in the nightmare zone of almost living in the dictatorship of the 15-minute city.
Yeah. I live in a very fucking complicated. So you probably would get this. I live in a part of the city. I just don't want to dox myself, so I'm being very surgical about the way I talk.
Smart.
But I live in a sort of part of the city where it is kind of suburban, but the kind of suburban that's like you can walk like maybe 20 minutes and you're downtown. Like, you know, like the sort of like if you're ever in a big city and you sort of turn a corner and all of a sudden there's like a really quiet street with a bunch of houses and you're like, where the fuck did this come from? I kind of live in one of those.
Yeah. That's nice though.
Yeah. But yeah, like am I from the same fake London as Not Just Bikes? Yes, I am. Yeah, Not Just Bikes grew up in this city. He doesn't live here anymore, but it is the same London, yes.
I love how you know that.
Oh, what's it called? We were talking once on the Nebula Slack about, like, because he comes to visit his parents every once in a while. I'm like, we should do something. He's like, sure, when there isn't a pandemic or something.
Fair. You know, like, yeah.
Yeah, so that's all that. The other emergency news that we do need to talk about is that Star Trek Discovery got canceled yesterday.
What?
So season 5 is going to be its last season.
Wait, how am I finding about this now from you? What?
Keep in mind,
No!
I am far too online for this, but yes, unfortunately after season 5, the I think officially gayest Star Trek is going to end.
Fuck. I mean, to be fair, I haven't seen the last 2 seasons because it didn't hold my interest. Yeah. Unfortunately, even though I freaking love Star Trek, so I can see why they're doing it. But also, like, I kind of liked it, and I kind of was getting around to it.
Discovery,
freaking Paramount.
Yeah, Discovery took a bit longer than usual to grow its beard, but once it did, it was okay. And I mean, it'll always have a special place in the history of the franchise for rebooting Star Trek. So, but I think that in many ways it was just a victim of the fact that it had. When you go through 3 showrunners in 3 seasons, that you're always going to have a trouble having a cogent thing. And when it starts off being a TOS prequel show and then ends up becoming a 31st century weird thing, like it got lost.
It got lost in its own weeds a little bit.
But I think that the 31st century stuff was really good. And I'm glad that they did it. Maybe they'll get like, and I imagine that also, it seems like every show they make now, they're trying to open doors for spin-offs. So I imagine they're not done with the 32nd century setting at all. No,
I mean, I do hope that they keep going with the show because how do you say? I like to. I hope that like Star Trek generally like continues to thrive, even if this show that sort of set it all off might not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because it is a little weird because like Picard is ending this year in like just a few weeks.
Yeah.
Although every article I read talks about how everybody on the show is like, yes, it's ending, but wink, wink, everybody. If it does really well this season, it might come back. Everybody, we're doing a TNG this time. We got them all. We have this has more Worfs than any other season of Picard ever introduced.
I love that the early seasons did pretty well because apparently Picard did pretty well, right? Because like Amazon is behind it also.
Oh, I didn't.
So they got all of that sort of marketing shit. Fucking Stockholm Central Station is fucking blasted with advertising, like wall to wall of fucking Picard's face every time they like drop a new episode.
My guess is that they paid a lot of money to make a TNG reunion. Although, like,
I mean, they would have to pay a lot of money to get everyone to come back to do it.
Yeah, their agents would be like, we want all of the money. Listen,
if you want everyone to come back, we have all the leverage.
Marina Sirtis hasn't done anything that wasn't like XCOM since like 2016, so she needs this. I do like. I was playing XCOM 2, and Marina Sirtis, like there's this whole mission where these 2 factions that hate each other were meeting each other, and one of them is played by Marina Sirtis, and one is definitely what's his name is definitely Michael Dorn, and it's like
It's very fun actually to hear them. There's a lot of like Star Trek voice characters in the XCOM series, which I love.
Mm-hmm. Also, randomly, my wife and I are watching True Blood, the sexy vampire show from HBO from like a million years ago, 2008 when you were 6 years old. But the main thing is that there's like a random in like the second episode, there's like a random coroner who shows up who's sort of like a dumb redneck kind of character, but it's John Billingsley, and I'm like, Dr. Phlox, he's a doctor in this show too.
Nice.
But Louisiana redneck governor Dr. Phlox was pretty fun to randomly find.
Dr. Flux is the actor behind him is really funny, I think.
Yeah, isn't he like I heard this is rumor, but I heard that originally their plan was to try and tap him to play Dr. Phlox in Strange New Worlds, to be like the medical officer of the Enterprise. But he's just like but he was just like, nah. I already have all the money I want. I just kind of want to do like random bits of charity and stuff. I'm
good, actually. Yeah.
It turns out, because I think that at one point they were also trying to court Jolene Blalock to come back, and she's like, you know what? I think I've had quite enough Star Trek for one lifetime. Thank you. I did the one where I got treated like shit, and the freaking pervy ass showrunner did like everything terrible to her. But like Jolene Blalock is like the one person they could like bring back for Strange. Like, who are all the aliens? They can be old. Anyways, how you been?
I've been good. Speaking of Star Trek, I've been watching Deep Space Nine again. I mean, I'm rewatching from season 1.
Good.
Because I have a lot of sort of like time now in my fucking municipal work where I have to just sit and wait for a long time for like another meeting to happen, and I'm using that time to just look at Star Trek. It's great.
It's so good. That's what Star Trek's great for.
Yeah.
If you just want to watch, it's like what's it called? It's like the rice of TV. If you want something that's decent and you want to eat 1,000 of something, then
you want to watch something that's always gonna be good.
It's always gonna be watchable. Yeah. I mean, Deep Space Nine was just the best show that was ever made by humans, so I still stand by that.
Yes. God, it's so fucking good though. Like, it is so. It's just so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
What's been the discourse since last we've met? It's been a while.
There's been a handful of discourses, has there not?
I mean, I'm sure there has been. I am just chronically like not online enough.
Yeah, well, you did an AI video, and everybody, the new discourse is everybody has to have an opinion about AI now.
Oh yeah, including me.
Yeah, I went on a very, very long rant on this. I've been talking about it on the stream for the last like 2 or 3 weeks because I'm unhappy with the way that how the left is acting very reactionary towards it in a way that I don't think is productive. But either way.
Ooh. Elaborate, because I haven't seen the stream. The rant.
My long take is that I feel very much like I wanted to make like a fake talk where like some fascist presidential candidate is meeting in like the empty grounds of downtown New York, and is like talking about bringing all the journalism jobs back if you get me elected, and like the two things I want to take away is one. Where was all of this righteous indignation? If you're going to take the thing, like any technology that increases overall human productivity but takes away the jobs of working people is bad, then where the fuck was everybody when they were taking away all of the like mining jobs and all of the factory worker jobs like 40 years ago? Like all of your potential solidarity allies in the Midwest are all gone now because you didn't give a shit about them. But
yeah.
The other, and now that it's coming for the professional managerial class, now it's all of a sudden this is the end times. We need to do this.
Yeah.
The other one is that like if you were to like listen to Marxism and political economics and stuff, like, or like if you look at the political economy of it, it's like left, like kind of like why Marx was so mad at socialists in the early 19th century. He's watching all of these people trying to basically put trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube and just being like, y'all, it's not happening. There's no stopping this. You have to like the means of production can't change back. It's not going to happen.
The means of production have already meansed.
Yeah.
We need to move on. Yeah. We need to grapple with the tools that exist.
Yeah.
And not be Luddites.
And so there is like and also it also takes away like taking the sort of blanket all AI bad, don't use it. It's going to destroy everything, and just turning it into the villain where now everybody has to compete to talk about how much they hate AI even more. Now it takes away from the conversation of like, hey, maybe we should talk about regulating AI so that it like doesn't so that it, you know, compensates the people who train them, like we compensate teachers and we compensate like all sorts. Like maybe we should try working towards building something to do something. But the left is it kind of exposed that the left in some ways right now is very reactionary because we grew up in a liberal society that's just trained on reacting to constant defeats and the clawing away of our rights and security. Yeah. And that's not gonna work. It's doomed to fail.
You're right. That's a good take. And I agree with you. That's one of the reasons why I sort of had the take that I did in my video on AI.
It's on my list. I will watch it. I have to go to a coffee shop to watch it as per the rules. So
I mean, I sent you a thing before I released the video and asking whether or not a thing was like insensitive or not.
Yeah.
The fucking Salvador Allende Giga Chad.
I mean, Salvador Allende was a Giga Chad. And so, yeah, given that, I think I can kind of piece together what what the take will be. Because, like, yeah, CyberSyn is a great thing to talk about when we're talking about this.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I want CyberSyn 2.0. Mm-hmm. That is what I want. CyberSyn 2.0 is just Amazon, like that, like because you made a video like that. I basically ripped off your entire video on Tristan Won't Shut Up, talking about planned economies and Walmart.
Do it. I love it. And I think I replied to your tweet today about it because I was just like, I had this whole Google Doc that was like me talking about the political economy of AI, and I'm like, well, putting that one back in the bin. I'll have to come back later.
You do it still.
I probably will. I think I'll watch. I'll just have to. I'll have to make it knowing that your video exists, and so I have to build on it. But my basic thing is going to be what I should do, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. I would need to get some serious costumes going, but I should do it in the character of a cantankerous Karl Marx, because a cantankerous Karl Marx trying to tell like rosy-eyed socialists trying to put their sabots into the factory machines, being like, you don't have a theory, you're just reacting to things. And I feel like I'm like in the I don't want to compare myself to one of the greatest economic geniuses in history, but I feel like I can feel his emotions in that moment where I'm seeing people the way they're reacting to what is, I think, pretty on par to something as transformative as the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's what people are saying too, right? That like it's basically like on par with sort of like maybe not the Industrial Revolution itself, but more like definitely like the digital revolution, like where everything became internetized.
Yes.
Internetized is not a word. What the fuck am I saying?
A lot of the problems that come to it, a lot of the problems at the heart of it are more derived from the fact that we don't all the things that everything I hear about what makes AI bad come from it being yet another advancement of the means of production that further exacerbates the contradictions within the capitalist system. That is like basically it's just another technological innovation that is putting even more weight on the fracturing capitalistic system, and shows why it doesn't work. But maybe I should because I've been trying to grow out my beard, but I'll need a fake beard for this. I'm gonna need to find some
big Karl Marx Yeah.
I'm gonna need to reach out to the local drag queen community and get like the biggest like gray black wig and like get like a matching beard and like dress in Victorian style to just like and put on a really bad German accent. I don't know.
I want to see this.
Doing this video in the character of a cantankerous old Karl Marx yelling at the socialists for not having theory feels like a great way to talk about AI. Or I could be Cyber Marx, like cybernetic Marx because it's AI. I don't know.
Mecha Marx.
I was inspired by you doing an entire video dressed as Austin Powers.
Why did I do that? That was weird for me to do, but I support it.
It's the ghost of the Austin Powers video that never was.
Yes, it kind of is actually.
Yeah. Oh, this is a discourse that came up, and it is a fun one, especially because I feel like we would have some interesting things to say about it. Atomic Heart discourse. So, for anyone who doesn't know, a video game came out a few weeks ago, I want to say, that's made by a... Okay, I'm trying to remember the demonym. Cypresian? A video game developer in Cyprus, but has...
Cypriot.
Cypriot, all right. A Cypriot video game developer made a game called... made an alternate history game called Atomic Heart, which takes place in a version of the year 1995, where in 1921 a Soviet scientist basically invents programmable matter and uses that to turn the Soviet Union very quickly into a post-scarcity society where nobody has to work. They handily defeat the Nazis during World War II, but as a sort of like last stand, they blow up, they basically unleash like a demon plague that kills like 1 million people, which makes like, or it kills millions of people around the world. So a good chunk of the capitalist world has a huge labor shortage and are desperate for the Soviet robots. And it takes place in like a modern day, like a 1995, where like the Soviets basically are like the economic and technological hegemons of the planet, you know, based. But there's a couple things. One, the Cypriot game dev does have several offices in Russia, and the main argument is that Atomic Heart is Russian propaganda, and is pro Putin because it shows a world in which Russia is like essentially like the hegemonic power of the world, and that's bad. And so that's
doesn't it also have a 6-hour sex cutscene, or is that fake?
I don't know about that. I haven't. The game is excessively horny, that's for sure. But I don't want to write off any game for being excessively horny.
Yeah, it has a fridge that will try to suck you off, and that is just based as well.
That is just the delights of post-scarcity socialism.
So is this the
blowjob fridge?
This is what the capitalist right don't want you to have.
It's the socialist version of Where's My Flying Cars? Where's my blowjob fridge?
God, that's funny. So what's the discourse is like? This is pro Putin, pro Russian propaganda.
Yeah,
but
if
like,
you're buying this game, are you supporting Putin?
I mean, this is like, there's a part of me that's like.
The other okay, there's another layer.
Is the Russian government involved in this?
No,
or something.
There's another layer on top of this, which is also that a certain group of people are trying to turn this into like they're trying to be like they're trying to do to it what happened like as a sort of like backlash against what normal empathetic human beings try to do with Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah,
okay,
but we also missed the entire wizard game discourse too.
But the analogy, okay, I don't know all the details, right? So maybe I'm super wrong, but this seems like stupid discourse because you could say that any game developed in Britain, supports turfism in that sense. Yeah. I kind of get what they mean, right? Because like a lot of companies did pull out of Russia.
A lot of companies said
after
they
the
pulled
invasion.
out of Russia, yes.
Yeah, they said, and then they didn't.
Coca-Cola pulled out of Russia. I'm just gonna go drink a Fanta while you continue your statement.
But like, I just think that like, okay, but like, because like, that works for when you're like, the argument was that you wouldn't sell goods in Russia rather, but like if you already have offices there, like that, I feel like that works very differently because at that point you have to fire a bunch of people and like restructure your entire company. If it's already based partially in Russia,
the other take is that
rather than like.
The other addition is there's accusations that they're selling data to Russia, to the like Russian players playing the game. They're selling Russian data to the Russian government, apparently.
If that's real, I feel like that's a much more valid concern than anything else, because that's a privacy concern. But the same thing can be said for literally every single game company in every single country. Mm-hmm. Like. I play World of Warcraft. You don't think the CIA knows exactly what my Blood Elf Paladin is doing every single day? Like, I don't want to sound like I'm defending Russia here. I fucking hate Russia. I like the Russian. Like, obviously, I'm very much like Russian invasion bad. But like, is it just me, or this sounds like a little bit like overblown?
I can't speak because like I'm seeing stuff in the chat that like doesn't it have anti-Ukraine imagery in the game? I don't know. I can't.
Yeah, because if it got that shit, then for sure, then that's bullshit.
I feel like any video game company that actually wanted to sell copies though would be a little bit careful about that, but I don't know for sure. Also, people who make video games can be very stupid, so or what's normal in Cyprus, it could be very different. But I like I said, a lot of this I can't confirm because I wasn't anticipating to talk about Atomic Hearts.
Controversy.
But it is interesting. One of the things that I will say about Atomic Hearts that sticks out to me is, well, if we're not going to talk about the geopolitics of it, the one thing I will say about it is. Hey, an alternate history that's not just what if the fascists won the World War? Or what if the fascists won the Civil War?
Sorry, what did you say?
I said if, outside of the political stuff about it, do you want to say, hey, what about, like, hey, it's an alternate history that isn't just what if the bad people won the war?
That is true. It is actually like it's like with the, if you know, controversy notwithstanding, it seems like I like other alternative history things that are that are based on this way. Like I'm based on more like new scientific weirdness happening. Like what if a faction got robots?
So the other
which I do like.
The other people are talking about is that the game released on Defender of the Fatherland Day, which I think is like a big Russian holiday about something to do with the Russian Revolution or something like that. But also that was also Putin chose that day to invade Ukraine, to launch the invasion of Ukraine in 2022, and also the Ukrainian government has asked people to not buy the game, and so they're like. It's Ukraine. People. The comparison has been because of the connection or how close they are in time. Is that this is Ukraine's Hogwarts Legacy? Everybody, if you buy this game, you hate Ukrainians. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't have a lot of Ukrainian acquaintances, but the few I do have, one of them does play this game. So that's a bad argument. I take that back. Like, I mean, it's still true, but it's a bad argument for anything. I take that back.
Yeah, can you imagine?
I haven't played the game. I don't know what the deal is with it.
Can you imagine if, like, the Ukrainian government tried to tell people to not play Stalker? Like, they would have to fire half their army.
Okay.
Anyone doesn't know, Stalker is a very simulationist, post-apocalyptic first-person shooter from Russia that approximately 180% of Eastern Europeans play.
Yes.
It is the official sport of every Slavic country.
So that is CSGO.
Yeah.
If it's
like like it's insane how it's like Stalker and what's that other game that's really popular in Ukraine and Russia? Mountain Blade.
Oh yeah, Mountain Blade. Oh yeah, yes. If you go to the modding community for like Mountain Blade, half of it is just Russian. It's just in Russian, no English translation.
Yep. Oh,
I love
Stalker
it.
made by Ukrainians? That's fun. It's an insanely popular game, that's for sure. I do know
Yes.
that the most interesting one that has come out of like war stuff is my to-do app. I have a to-do app called My Life Organized, which is made by a Ukrainian development team. And they started putting push notifications in the app about how they're still continuing to develop the app while in Ukraine and under fire. And it's like, bruh, it's okay if you don't update for a while.
You can take a fucking break.
Yeah, they just released a new version, and I'm like, how are you doing this? Where is this insanely safe part of Ukraine you're hiding in to develop app?
I mean, like, to be fair, like the Ukrainian economy still has to keep trucking. And there are many, shit's bad, but a lot of people are still staying and working and going to their jobs and shit.
Yeah, if COVID taught me anything, it's that if there is a disaster, it doesn't mean you don't have to go to work.
Yeah. The economy still has to go.
The invasion of Ukraine has basically destroyed the Heroes of Might and Magic community. Oh my. Imagine if we find out later that, like, the entire war was started because Putin was getting beaten too much in CSGO and he wanted to up his KD ratio.
That's awful.
And he started an entire war over it.
I mean, considering that Putin is, from everything we hear about Putin, is that he's basically just insane.
Yeah.
So, like, who knows?
I've been told that he's, like, really paranoid about COVID, and so, like, he has all of his meetings in these massive rooms where he, like, sits on the other side of it.
Yeah, it's actually become a term of speech here in like Swedish municipal politics when people sit very far apart. It's called the Putin distance.
Oh my!
You sit one Putin desk away from another person.
So that's been the new discourse. The other gamer discourse was, I feel like it's been long enough that since our last stream that the entire Wizard game discourse happened, where the ultimate violation of someone's human rights, which was being asked to not play a video game that you are streaming because it's disrespectful, and directly giving money to a marginalized group, or a group that to somebody who is actively trying to oppress a marginalized group.
Like, to give her credit, J.K. Rowling has tweeted nothing about the game. Like, at all. Like, I wonder if she's, like, under contract or some shit.
Has to be.
Like, she would have to be, right? Like, she tweets every single day. Like, okay, not really, but, like, she tweets a lot about, like, trans people, trans women specifically. And she's not gonna start tweeting about, like, how the trans or, like, having a thing about the video game, like, at all? Mm-hmm. Joanne, what's happening? You're slacking.
Yeah, how are they gonna sell the game that apparently both is transphobic and anti-Semitic at the same time? How could you not go for the twofer?
Can I tell you something that I thought about the other day about this fucking game?
Yeah.
Something that I thought about.
I need to think way too much about one fucking video game for 1 month. So yeah, go for it.
I need to talk to you about something. I need to talk with an audience too, because I need people to support me or discredit me on this. So, like, she's got the goblins.
Yeah.
Goblins with hooked noses.
Oh yeah, and they look gold.
Yes. Getting to, and, like, she has been criticized for this, basically using, like, an anti-Semitic caricature that is based, on folklore that itself is anti-Semitic, right? Mm-hmm. And that's been sort of the defense, right? That she's sort of like, she's using folklore as it is, and that's why it's like that. But do goblins in folklore control all the banks?
Nope, I don't think so. I think they're just like little monsters that like to take shinies from people. Like,
So like,
they're based on like
so why
banter
do they
mobs,
control
right?
all the banks in Harry Potter?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, why do they do that? Like, that's not a part of the folklore, is that it? It's not, right? Like, it's not.
No, I'm trying to remember. Like goblins are they're sort of like brunies, or I think in your culture like dwarves, like not
Yeah.
dwarves as in like Tolkien shit, but like dwarves as in like, hey, the little men from the mountains who
Yeah,
hide the
like
treasure.
people who are this big.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like leprechauns and stuff like that. Like they're just like
Yeah.
little goofy things that try to take your I don't know, they try to take your shoes or something, and then if you say go away 3 times, they have to do a dance or some European folklore shit.
Yeah. So, but like, where does them controlling the banks come from? Because like,
I was reading a folklore text.
did she?
She was reading like a folklore text called the Turner Diaries and came to the conclusion.
But like, okay, because like, I don't know where this is coming from. I think because like people now, when they think about like goblins in modern day depictions, like in World of Warcraft, someone mentioned, for example, they do control the banks there too. However, Harry Potter predates the World of Warcraft, and Warcraft,
Yeah, and also
and Warcraft 3.
If you play World of Warcraft, you'll also know that their goblins are definitely Italian stereotypes more than anything. They're all gangsters who dress in like insane gangster clothes and drive like roadsters and like talk like they're all from Brooklyn and dress like pimps. The king dresses like a pimp.
I think I think in World of Warcraft that was a deliberate choice. You know, like early on, they were like a little bit too Jewish stereotypy, so they were like, okay, let's go away from the Jewish stereotype and lean into the Italian.
Yeah, goblin ghoul, gabagool.
Goblin ghoul. So like, but like, did J.K. Rowling here? And I can't believe I've never seen anyone talk about this or like use this as a retort to that defense around the anti-Semitism.
Well, April's
like,
video, everybody.
But like. Did she just take an anti-Semitic caricature picture and said like, you know what, it's not anti-Semitic enough, I'm gonna make them control all the banks?
And then I think in the game, so like there's not only that problem, but I feel like the game itself had like a crypto-fascist game, like a crypto-fascist director for a number of years that they fired, but not before they basically had developed all the story already. So like, I've been hearing stuff about how like the goblins, like the goblin uprising is modeled after some like major Jewish uprising that happened in like 1612 or something like that. Like I don't know European history that well, but
yeah, I mean, yeah.
like that it's got some deep shit in that vein.
Yeah, I've heard this. I will say though that like, because I've also heard some other thing being like that a certain historical event corresponds to an historical, like an event in the game corresponds to an event in history, which is the expulsion of the Jews from like from like a city a certain year, which happened on the same date a certain year, like way back. But like on one end, yeah, if that's intentional, that's fucking weird. But also, like, you can basically throw like an arrow at a dartboard and have every single date in European history, and you're gonna land on a date when Jewish expulsions of cities have happened. There's been a lot of anti-Semitism in Europe over time, so like there's a part of me that sometimes feels like maybe one or two things was a stretch. Okay. But like there was also the thing about the war horn, for example, which is like that corresponds to a certain like horn in Jewish tradition, which is like okay, but it's also a horn. But at the same time, they are fucking goblins, so they're literally goblins. So anything that could coincidentally be anti-Semitism is obviously going to be read as anti-Semitic because they're freaking goblins with hooked noses.
Yeah.
Like, there's no you can't escape that shit.
That's why, like, you need to, like, if you're gonna do goblins in your thing, you need to design them to look like the ones in Pathfinder who don't have hook noses, and they are obviously, like, they're little cretins that eat garbage and love chaos and destruction. It's great. That is the right way to do goblins. I'm learning that if you want to avoid any trope in fantasy, the modern day trick to figure out how to do all of it is just find out what Pathfinder's doing. It's usually the right thing. Because it's a D&D competitor that is made by, like, a unionized company that, like, has, like, a pronoun field on your character sheet and stuff like that. Like, it's base as hell, and it's like, yeah, and their goblins are awesome.
Oh God, what a weird game.
Yeah. Okay. So
and apparently it's like one of the most successful game launches, like, ever. So
yeah, but, like, that's
Harry Potter adults are insane.
People were trying to make the claim. Have I not had you on camera the whole? Oh yeah, I have. Never mind. I thought the YouTube Live controller is extremely out of date.
YouTube Live is fucking weird.
Yeah, yeah. Let me check the yeah. Okay, you're on. That would have been very.
I can see myself on the screen, so yeah.
Good. Okay. So we do answer questions very occasionally on this stream. When we're not talking about we just had to catch up. I think it's been close to a month since we last got together. So
it's been a while because, like, I've been busy. Baby got sick. I got sick. Like, we've just been missing each other, like passing ships in the night.
Mm-hmm. But okay, the question I got here first to start. Mia, this is a good one to get because this question would literally have expired because I delete questions over a month old.
Oh, perfect.
To keep things fresh. And this one's from February 10th. So, Mia, in your last video, referring to the masculinity video, you said that cis men aren't incentivized to analyze our relationship to our genders because we're not oppressed because of our genders. If that was entirely
no, that's a slight misunderstanding of what I'm saying.
Okay.
I just want to sort of, like, you can finish reading the question later. I just want to correct here. Men are oppressed because of patriarchy, because of, like, the systems of, like, gender that, like, affect men as well. But that system itself doesn't incentivize men to examine their role in it. A way for men to be good men within a patriarchal worldview is to not examine their own masculinity. Whereas the same thing is not necessarily true for other people. Like, if you're a man and you are a man good, you can be on the top of the hierarchy and you're going to be fine. Most men are not going to be there, and most men can never reach that. Like, the vast majority of people can never reach that. But the fact that it's a vague possibility means that you are not incentivized to do it because you can win. Women can't win the gender game, so therefore women are incentivized to do it. I think I could have been clearer in this in the video itself. But men are oppressed because of patriarchy. They're just not incentivized to sort of, like, reflect on their role within patriarchy, because by doing that is itself an anti-masculine ideal.
Introspection is considered an anti-masculine ideal, and yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see if the rest of the question doesn't just get invalidated because of that. If that was entirely the case, wouldn't the crisis of masculinity not be happening? I feel like I've been told your purpose in life is to achieve something unattainable as a form of oppression. I mean, it's not oppression as such as it's at least something unpleasant that I'd think would create an incentive to think about your relationship to your gender. It does for me, at least. It's a bit of a run-on.
I mean, it can. I think that a lot of men are. I think that men should introspect their own gender, and I think that there are some factors in society that that do encourage men to be introspective. I just don't think patriarchy is a force that does that, if you know what I mean. Sort of like, I think patriarchy as its own like structural entity does not and does not incentivize that. But then there are other things that might incentivize that, like your own personality or your own life experiences in relation to patriarchy. That can sort of like, if you have a bad relationship with patriarchy, then that can incentivize you to be introspective. But patriarchy itself doesn't incentivize men to do that. So for the men who like lean into patriarchy and who want to discard everything else, like people like Andrew Tate, for example, they are not incentivized to do it at all.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about masculinity being toxic, it seems like toxic masculinity literally gave him cancer. So,
which again doesn't mean all masculinity.
yeah,
I would say that the vast majority of masculinity is fine, and I like it.
yeah, it's just us being weird little guys.
We're just normal men,
Yeah.
just innocent men.
Plus, like, even if you're not incentivized to do something, doesn't mean you won't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can still do it. It's just like the structures of patriarchy won't reward you for doing it.
Mm-hmm. When like a part of like for example, cis women inspecting their gender is a lot about them like seeing their place in the sort of subjugated nature of the gender hierarchy for them, and that leads to girl bossing and like not in like the bad way, but in like being like in challenging the assumptions about it to be more assertive and to try and like carve out your place in the world.
Yeah, I think that's a good sort of, yeah.
When like if what is your place in the gender hierarchy results in things that are good for you, then yeah, you're the incentive to do so would be lower. Yeah, makes sense to me. Someone says you're coming in hot, so I'm turning you down a little bit. It's not. No offense is needed by this. I don't want. I'm just
screaming into the microphone.
Yeah, you're very, very bothered. You have a lot of pent up streaming energy.
I demand the floor.
Yeah. Did you? I also saw that there. I didn't read the news story, but I thought of you when I saw the headline that there's been some motion on the Kerbals.
Oh yes.
The Kerbals are
Kerbal Space Program 2 is out.
You have resigned from your government position. Citation: you're joining. Your cover story is that you're joining the European Space Agency.
So I got Kerbal Space Program 2 when it released last week, and I have played it for 1 hour.
What?
Partially because I've been really fucking busy. Like I got free time on Wednesday when I released that video, so I've had time today and yesterday since release to actually play it. And I haven't because I really like Kerbal Space Program. It's a wonderful game. I love it. Like the first one has so much fun shit that I absolutely fucking adore. It has resources. It has
Soviet republics.
Yes, but it has. But like you know, it has like heat resistance. It has like a very good sort of like aerodynamics map. It has asteroids. It has satellites, robotics. It has like all sorts of shit like that.
Did the sequel sell out and go too accessible?
No, it's just not done.
Oh, is it early access?
If that makes sense. Yeah. So, like, there's no career mode at all.
Okay.
There's no science mode, so it's only sandbox, which is fine. I prefer to play in career mode because I don't want to like start out building. Like, I don't want to build the Saturn V rocket first thing I do. I kind of want to build small shit and sort of build my way up. And get to know all the parts individually before I move on to like the next stage of rocketry. Can't do that because you get all of it at once, and that overwhelms me, and I'm too neurodivergent to deal with that.
You're explaining why I only have like 90 minutes in Victoria 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
I crashed my economy 16 times by 2 years into the game, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna come back when I actually read something about how to play this game.
Yeah. I like Victoria 3. That's a fun game. Anyway, but Kerbal Space Program 2, for example, like it also doesn't have. The thing that really put me off on it was that it doesn't have heat resistance. So if you launch a rocket up into space, and it comes back to Earth, angle of attack into sort of the atmosphere doesn't matter. Like as long as you slow down, like you're not gonna burn up in the atmosphere because there's no burn. There's no like heat resistance. There's no, yeah.
That is
So there's just a lot of shit missing. There's no multiplayer either. There's no like interstellar shit, which was like one of their big selling points that they were gonna add to Kerbal Space Program 2. There's no colony management, which was also like the big thing that Kerbal Space Program 2 was going to like introduce as a new feature. So like why would you play it? Because you could play the first one and it has robotics and science and a bunch of mods, and it has like the first one just has more shit. The second one looks better, but that also means that like because the graphics is better, it runs like shit.
So I will say those are completely valid criticisms of the game. Saying that the game is annoying because it doesn't have proper heat resistance is maybe the most European criticism I've ever heard of a video game.
I need heat resistance.
I'm learning more about European. I have some. So we have some good friends now who we meet up with once a week who are immigrants from Alemania, from Germany, from Munich, and we're like, I think they like us, but they're too German for us to tell.
Yeah, that sounds like Germans.
But they have a son who's like 6 months younger than our son, so we give them all of our shit, and we have a common frame of understanding with each other.
Wonderful. That's cute.
But yeah, there's but they are very German, and it's hard to see where you stand with them because they're so. I don't know if it's just a German thing because I feel about like just not being able to tell where you stand with people. I feel like I could have said that about France too, but
it's a very sort of like Germanic thing too, because like the same thing happens with Swedes. Like I have a lot of international friends who say the same thing about Swedes, that like you have no idea whether or not Swedes like you or not.
But then you go to hot Europe, and hot Europe, you know exactly people. I mean, we've talked about it many times. Italians will tell you exactly what they think about you from the back of a Vespa while moving at full speed.
Yes.
Man, the energy of hot Europe is wild.
I love hot Europe though. I can't wait till the summer. I'm gonna see if I can figure out a way to save enough money to take a train down to Italy or some shit.
Nice.
Not even have to go on a fucking plane. High speed rail.
I'm going on my first trip since 2020 that isn't just visiting family this summer, and to no one's surprise, it's also my first trip going solo since the baby's been born, which is interesting. To beautiful Anaheim, California in June for a certain thing that happens there every June.
Is that VidCon?
Yeah.
Oh shit. I can probably afford to go to VidCon now. I should probably go to VidCon.
Yeah.
Anaheim. Wait, they have a VidCon in Baltimore?
I mean, they announced it. I feel like they haven't had one yet, and it's gonna be like, if it's gonna be like anything like the European or the British VidCon, like light in attendance. Like, you know how there's like a lot of cons are like, now we've opened up in a bunch of new places, but everyone knows there's the main one.
Yeah, there's the real one, and then there are like satellites. but there's only one real one.
But they are trying to make like East Coast VidCon with Baltimore, but
But I like that though, because like why the fuck would I have to go all the way to fucking LA?
that's where YouTube's headquarters is, I guess. But as I've been told, apparently I don't know this. It's been different because I haven't been to VidCon since 2019. But I've been told that if you go to VidCon now, it is like what was YouTube in 2019 is now TikTok, and YouTube is definitely playing second fiddle there now.
Yeah, for sure. It's a TikTok convention at this point.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Like looking at sort of the featured names ever. Like this is it's been like this now for the last 3 or 4 years. And it like looking at all the featured names, it's gonna be like one person or two that I recognize. It's just like, oh, there's Abby. Oh, there's like Natalie or something. And then it's just like 1,500 names that I've never heard of in my entire life, who are all younger than me and who all have like 8 million subscribers and who no one knows of. But if you ask any young person, they're like, oh yes, I know that person.
That person defines my existence.
Yes, exactly.
Stanley Tittlewick is my life. Even though Stanley Tittlewick is convicted of killing his family,
Is Stanley Tittlewick a real person?
No, I just made that name up.
No. Okay. Stanley Tittlewick, number one featured creator, 25 million subscribers, 5 billion views.
Because he did a what's it called? He did a TikTok where he did the mustard challenge. What is the mustard challenge? I don't know. It probably exists though.
Yeah, the mustard challenge was huge. You know, back on TikTok, before we noticed it.
Yeah.
Within like the tween audience. Tweens watch a lot of fucking shit.
That makes sense. I was a tween once. I also watched a lot of shit.
I'm never gonna send TikTok. It kind of sucks though, because I kind of now the first year when I can actually properly go to fucking LA for VidCon is also like now it's like, what's the point?
The TikToks have taken over.
I'm legitimately looking at like the featured creators for this one, and I don't know anyone.
The TikTok trick is to just do what we do, which is DM each other the stupid shit we find.
Yes, that's the only way to do TikTok.
Mm-hmm. I have what's it called? I feel like anytime it's like a weird history or politics meme, like I sent you that one about ways to reduce your greenhouse emissions.
That was good.
It was great.
I love healthy living.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that you can reduce greenhouse emissions incredibly by eating rich people? It takes their emissions to zero.
I just scrolled all the way to the H section of the featured creators, and I finally recognized one person, and it's Hank Green.
Oh, I know that guy.
I know that guy.
He bought me ice cream once.
Oh, John Green, the second person on this list that I know. Cal Black, finally someone that I actually kind of know about. Shit.
I know John Green. I saw him at an event where he looked like he wanted to be anywhere in the universe but that party. Because he hates social situations.
He's just like me, for real.
All right. Next question I got here is, for when Mia is also there, this is a Nebula question. What is the future of Nebula? Could there be a situation where it becomes the equivalent of a blue check mark before Elon took over? I don't know where the comparison comes from, but I mean, I think this question was given to us before it had a red carpet premiere in New York. So I think the best.
It's already like the check mark, is it?
Yeah, there is a great comparison, which was just to say that it's a website where it's like YouTube meets Netflix or something like that. Where it's like,
oh yeah, I hate that. Does that mean we're? Because like it is kind of like the check mark at this point, kind of, right? Like we're verified within smart person YouTube.
Yeah, I guess that works.
Like we're smart left wing YouTube, and that's what we are.
Fair.
I don't like the idea of us thinking ourselves. I don't know what the future is though, because like I mean I've been on Nebula longer than you are, but I feel like you have a stronger view on Nebula than I do, because I used to be a lot more active, but like ever since there's been a few things that sort of like disconnect me a little bit. One is that I live in a completely different time zone, right? So like I try to work a normal 9 to 5, but the problem is that Americans are on a completely different time zone, and most of the people who work at Nebula are American.
Yeah.
Which means that the window of opportunity where I can communicate with them within a normal, healthy life like time span, for me starts at 3 in the afternoon, at 3 p.m. And I stop at 5 p.m., which means that like I got those 2 hours to be like, hey, I got some ideas for some shit on Nebula, and then I'm out. So no one chats in the common Slack that we have during my normal work hours. No one hangs out when I hang out. So it's like that's sort of one thing that sort of disconnected me a little bit from the group. It's a great group, I love it, but like I'm a little disconnected from that. And ever since the election, I've also just been disconnected because I have another job.
You're too fancy.
I'm too fancy.
Too busy running Stockholm, being the queen of Stockholm. I'm trying to ban somebody, and I don't know how. How do I shot web? They took away They took like all of the moderator tools are gone. I don't know how the hell to do it anymore. I don't know.
Oh, that happens sometimes. I go into the Chrome window itself rather than any software because sometimes that bugs out.
Let me try a pop-out chat. Maybe that'll fix it. All right. And all right. I will figure this out. Oh, there's the button. I just didn't see the big button that says here's the button to ban people. Okay, I fixed it.
Lovely stuff. So I think the future of Nebula is going to be that it's going to keep expanding, and they're going to keep pouring money into new and bigger things.
Mm-hmm.
I would love it to evolve a little bit in the corner of Dropout, if you know that service.
It's the thing that I someday I'm gonna buy it for the specific purchase of watching Dimension 20. But yeah, it's what's it called? It's College Humor's thing.
What did you say? Tumors?
College Humors. It's College Humor's.
Oh yes, yeah. Because they have this show of they have basically game shows and shit where they just invite like a regular cast, and do fun stuff. Like they have the show of like Game Changer. They have Actually, which is like this nerd show. They have Dimension 20, which is probably their biggest thing.
Yeah, I plan on buying it specifically for the moment when I run out of YouTube episodes of Dimension 20.
It's great. I legitimately love it. It's very, very fun to get drunk and watch Game Changer. Because when you're drunk, it makes so little sense and it's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love for Nebula to evolve in that direction. I've pitched some things, but they have not been picked up yet. The problem isn't them not wanting to do it. The problem is funding. If I can do it myself, who gives a shit?
Mm-hmm.
This is why I need to get more money so I can start my own production company, so I can just have my own game show where I invite Brendan Lee Mulligan so I can torture him about birds. Which is what I want to do.
I saw that clip. It is so good. That the bird, the game show bird torture part was just so good.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot darker than it actually is.
I want to torture Sam Reich and Brendan Lee Mulligan about birds, and I want to do it on my game show on Nebula.
Yeah.
But odds are that that's not going to happen for like a little time. But like that's my theory of what's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen that way, but I think it's going to like go into that vibe, like a little bit more original content, a bit more like things done in studio. Like more collaborations between like Nebula creators, things like that. I think that's what's gonna happen. What do you think?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, I think that there's I think that there's a lot of experimentation going on because there's just a lot of creative people who have different things they want to branch out into, and them being able to throw big money behind projects they believe in is going to like depend on their success and move. Like the fact that they just did a like Hollywood-esque release for Abby Thorne's play is an interesting, cool idea. And
That was good.
There's they're putting some money down for a sci-fi movie, like a short sci-fi film. So,
Oh yeah, shit.
Identities.
Yeah.
So there's some wild stuff. To me, I don't know. At this point, I'm just like, hey, I was this close to to the point where I was putting together job applications of having to quit YouTube until I got picked up. So grateful. That's how I feel.
Yes. I do like the fact that they throw money at us.
Because anyone, like, I'm sure, I think I even talked with you about it probably back in the day when it was happening. But Mia would know that that basically between the baby and the sort of like not being able to take many sponsorships and stuff like that, like I almost went broke last year, and I had to. I was very close to having to quit YouTube to get a normal person job, but that did not happen because the Nebula helped me out, and it was literally like the greatest thing at the last second. Okay.
I mean, it's like similar thing here. Like I went from having like a fine, like I could survive on it, but like not, I would need like a real job to sort of support myself. And then when I got into Nebula, it's like, oh, I can do YouTube full time now.
Yeah.
Like it's a godsend. Mm-hmm. If you're a YouTuber, try to join Nebula.
Yes.
Because they're good. They take good care of you, and they have cheap Getty Images licenses.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next question we got here is thoughts on the Inflation Reduction Act and its action on climate change. I don't actually know anything about this, so I'm just going to move on.
No clue. None.
I feel like lately, like the last few months, I've been more checked out of the news, specifically the day-to-day of American politics than usual. And I don't know. I know that's got to be like I that's like supposed to be my bread and butter. So, granted, I love ANCOM stuff, but your history theory coverage is pretty damn essential. Not gonna lie, and you have the kiddo to look after. Well, thank you. I appreciate the appreciation.
Yeah, the only news I've been following is like Florida news, where the governor is basically making himself dictator of Florida.
Yeah, and like you're showing that video that came out of just rows and rows of empty shelves in the school library because they went through like a book burning ceremony, and they just they are throwing out all books that talk about gays and black people existing, basically.
Yeah.
Remember like probably like 10 seconds ago when the right were talking about how much they love free speech, and now they're like destroying all the books in the libraries, and like they're gonna be like, free speech is when I'm allowed to say racial slurs on Twitter. It's not when people have access to important books about subjects that are of high importance. Free speech is when I can say the N-word on Twitter. It's not when drag queens can exist and do their and express their art in shows.
The only reason free speech exists is in order to be able to say the N-word. That's the only reason free speech exists. It's not in order to protect like controversial ideas from being uttered in the public discourse. It's so that you can say the N-word. That's the only reason it exists. Also, did you hear about the fucking thing? I don't know if this is true or not, or if this is like, because like it's on brand, but it might just be bullshit. That if you write about the governor in your blogs, you have to register with the Florida state.
Wait, what?
It's I saw something about this. Like, DeSantis
wasn't
blog.
Wasn't Florida the place where like that person who was just sharing COVID data, like not scrubbed by the government COVID data, got like raided by like the fucking like a SWAT team or something like that?
Oh God.
Because,
I mean, like, it sounds on brand.
Because Florida was like really cooking their numbers to make COVID not look as bad as it was.
Oh yeah, okay. Look at this. Florida bill would require that bloggers who write about Ron DeSantis and other officials to register with state or face fines. Free speech.
Yeah, free speech.
Register yourself with the state.
I have I think that one of the funniest things was there was this meme that was made during like the peak of like Elon taking over Twitter things, and it was like like you know how we keep now getting weird Twitter pop-ups about like we're taking away features, buy this shit, that kind of stuff. And one of them was like prove you love free speech, and it just has like a little text box to write into, and it says say it.
Say it. Say it.
Yeah. I mean, it makes like it makes sense when you're like, oh, what they mean by free speech is they want Elon to make a Chat GPT that can say slurs. I don't like. It seems that their free speech is entirely focused on one very specific thing they want to do. Anyways,
I know, right? Yeah. But like, why are they so obsessed with wanting to say the N-word? Like, why is that the only thing they want to do? Why have so many people's entire political ideology been narrowed and distilled down to people wanting to say the N-word?
I don't
like,
know.
why? Just say it! Like, if you really want to say the N-word, you can say the N-word. No one's gonna arrest you.
They just don't want consequence for it. Just like when people were talking about at peak Hogwarts Legacy discourse, like I pointed out like, yo, you can just buy the game and play it, and literally like in your house, and nobody will know. Like you could just play that. You could just buy a video game and play it and not tell anybody, and like nobody will know what you did. It's the fact that you want to be able to play it and talk about it and not feel guilt for it. And I on a stream I compared it to the way that people have freaked out about it, like the sort of like weird overreaction to getting mad about being told that they shouldn't play this game, feels to me a lot like the way that people really have like a reflexive freak out when they talk to vegans.
Yeah.
Because all a vegan will do is say something that, you know, kind of gets through to you and shows like, oh, you're not living the most moral and ethical existence that you could be, and that fact makes some part of our like mental self-defense go absolutely haywire.
Yeah. If I can like,
have I heard about the Tories meeting with an AFD member yet? I haven't talked about it, but yeah, that is the what's it called thing in that's the Canadian discourse going on right now, which is that one of our conservatives met with a member of the political party Alternative for Deutschland. You might have heard of them.
Yes.
So
very controversial.
So our Canadian Conservative Party met with a conservative German political party called Alternative for Deutschland, otherwise known as a literal attempt to bring back the Nazi Party. It's literally, isn't it like, it's literally the resurgence of the Nazi Party that the East German government set up to try and contain all of the nationalists in one political party? Something like that?
Maybe. I don't know enough about the history of Alternative for Deutschland.
Okay, because like one time when they were setting up East Germany, one of the things they did is they took they made a new right wing nationalist party, or as right wing nationalists you could. It's like right wing nationalist but communist, because every party had to be communist, and they were like, we'll do this, and all the nationalists will join this political party because they don't matter. They're just doing whatever we tell them to do anyway. But yeah, that was like. We'll see. But yeah, that was a thing at a point. But yeah, that is the talk where like, yeah, we have a conservative politician who's meeting with an actual neo-Nazi party.
Oh, wonderful.
Because the new strategy for our conservative party is now, I mean, I think this guy's just going to get shuffled out of the party, but it's now to get into culture wars. Canada's next election is definitely going to be like the conservatives saying, we don't like woke things anymore.
Fucking wokeness. That's that becoming a thing. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Alternative for Deutschland, the Swedish version of that collapsed over the week because their entire party leadership imploded on each other due to like personal differences, and no one wants to like join their extraordinarily toxic like party leadership. So the party's just dead
Ooh,
because Nazis can't work together.
that's terrible. Anyways,
Yeah.
that's tragic. Anyways,
Not the Swedish Democrats. Alternative for Sweden,
ah.
which is a neo-Nazi group thing.
So I'm learning now that it was apparently several MPs, including Lidson Lewis, who almost became the party leader. Fun. Love that. Love that for us in Canada. Canada's next, so the last election was incredibly stupid because we had a right-wing splinter party that got a decent chunk of votes because that was basically campaigning exclusively on like anti-vaccine, anti-lockdown stuff. Because our federal government decided to throw a snap election in 2021.
You love throwing snap elections.
Can you imagine what the government having a snap election in 2021? And what like first of all, because of all the COVID denial stuff, like like every country had turned into a political minefield. Plus, running an election during a pandemic,
Yeah,
is literally going to get people killed.
sounds pretty stupid, honestly. Yeah.
But the reason they did so is because this is the most politician thing I've ever heard. By the way, no offense. So basically,
No, it's okay. We're trash.
the Liberal Party had some good it did really well in the polls because of its response to COVID. It got a big shot in the arm, and they were like, "Oh, our numbers are up high enough that maybe if we run for an election, like it's high enough that we might actually get a majority." So they called a snap election, and every single event when like Justin Trudeau was like asked like when he ever did events, the question always came up of like, "Wait, why? Why are you calling an election right now?" And they couldn't just say because we think we could get more votes or more seats. So they like just squirmed and like weaseled out of every single question about because they could not answer why are you doing this election.
Like, why do you need to?
Yeah. So they did the election, and I think I told you about this like back when it happened. Do you know how much the parliament changed?
Not at all.
The Liberals lost a single seat, and that was the entire change.
Good job.
Good job.
Good use of taxpayer money
Yeah.
and time and health.
And I'm seeing here also that apparently the Conservatives are now pushing for saying that the election had interference because of China. That the Chinese interfered in the election. So
Come on now.
see, this is the secret about Canadian politics is that Canada's politics is basically we just get America's bullshit like 5 years delayed.
Oh, that's great because that's our next election. Then we're gonna have that because we have it 10 years delayed.
Ah, perfect. So that means that like if we have an election this year, we're in a minority government with like a sort of like shaky coalition between two parties holding it together. And if that falls apart, which I've heard some scuttlebutt from like volunteering with parties and stuff like that, that it's looking like that the Liberals are gearing up to throw another snap election and violate the agreement they made with the NDP. Again. But because of that, it could be that the Tories are going to that the Tories' new strategy with their new person, which is Pierre Poilievre, which is his name.
The most French Canadian name I've ever heard.
Pierre Poilievre, who's taking the Conservative Party in a new direction, which is basically Canadian politics has had this like rule for a long time of like we don't get into social conservative shit. Like we don't talk about gay rights. We don't talk about LGBTQ issues. We don't talk about race or any of those things. We just talk about we don't talk about hating anybody except the poor. That's all conservatives are about. They're about hating the poor.
Yes, as you should be.
But anyways, now they're apparently breaking that rule, and now they're like going to run the conservative anti-woke election, and it's going to be fucking stupid as hell because Canadian conservatives do just try to do what the Republicans can do, but they don't have as much, like, their party's not right wing enough ideologically to do that, and so they do like a sort of, they do like Jeb Bush trying to do Donald Trump, and it's going to be really sad.
Aw. Jeb Bush trying to do, but Jeb Bush won. He won every state.
So yeah, and now the Tories are trying to say that if they lose the next election, it'll be because of China.
That it never fails to say that, does it?
No, because Canada's ramping up. Like, Canada is, because we have a large, we have two, like, one, our xenophobia is going fucking crazy in this country. I think even more than America. We are like playing it up way harder. And second, because we have we have like a, what's it called? We have a large Ukrainian immigrant population as well, or and descendants of Ukrainian immigrants and such. To the point where we have issues where we have to deal with the fact that private Ukrainian graveyards have statues to SS officers in them. Very fun.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. Cool. But it means that, like, our politicians all have to make, kind of like in Europe, have to make like a presentation about how big into the war they are.
Yeah.
Someone's like, wait, what? Yeah, there was a whole thing, I think it was like in 2017, 2018, there was a whole deal with a Hamilton graveyard that had a statue memorial to a SS division, and they couldn't do the government couldn't do anything about it because it was a private graveyard that belonged to like a Ukrainian cultural center or something like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that that's just a thing.
Yeah, all these concerns
that
people
we
study
have
the
that here
far right.
too, but those are Swedish.
Yeah.
So
all these concerns we had about the rising far right, and then I don't know, something happened and we just decided to ignore all these problems. Anyways,
I'm fine.
I'm very like what's it called? I feel like anytime I talk about what's going on in Ukraine, people get mad at me, so I just try not to. Because I try to have anything approaching nuance on the subject, and everyone gets mad.
Oh yeah, nuance is not good on this subject.
Yeah.
You should just follow. You do what I do and follow the party line, and just say, like, we support. We denounce, like, imperialist wars and support the idea of self-defense, and that's it.
Yeah, that's a pretty good line. That's a pretty good statement to go by.
Yeah, you can tell I've learned from being a politician.
I also don't like Nazis. I really don't like Nazis.
You got too far. You can't say that.
Oh, okay.
So you've stirred the hive again.
I both hate imperialism and Nazis, which makes that war very complicated to talk about. Okay, so next question. You talked a bit on stream about AI and machine learning. What do you think about the idea of a future socialist project using something like Project Cybersyn but powered by machine learning? Is it viable, and would it be better or worse than a human-run one? Yes, do it, please. I want it. Give it to me.
Please do it.
Put it. What's it called? Nationalize Amazon and just steal their entire distribution network, and then just turn that into government distribution of supplies. There you go. You have a planned economy by taking over one company. Do it.
Do it.
I'm like, I was using this app. I don't know. I don't know. This is not going to translate well to screen, but I have this app called Sweepy, right? And Sweepy is an app for people with ADHD to clean their house, basically, because it lets us delegate all the different cleaning tasks that a house needs between two people, and shares in the amount of, like, energy that you put into it. It's a great app. I love it. And I'd also just telling me right now that I need to feed my starter. Anyways, so that app exists, and I was thinking about it today, and I was like, the way that you can do it is, like, every task can be assigned to people. They're assigned to locations. The amount of energy they take is ranged from 1 to 3 points. And you get, like, a little, like, task list every day of a little bit that is your fair share of the work to do. And I was just like, shit, man, remember that whole, like, everyone talked about the problem of the anarchist commune is no one would be able to divide up all the labor that nobody wants to do. But if you put in your abilities and trainings and the places you live, and you put it in an app just like that, you could be like, here's, like, your social chores. Just, every once in a while you should go and do these things, and it keeps society functioning. And I'm like, fuck, Guys, here it is.
Let's do that.
We have the technology. This stupid app I learned so that I would finally learn to dust things is doing it. Anyways, so I think both of us are. I mean, you made an entire video. We both made several, at least one video. We both made a minimum of one video on why machine learning planned economies are awesome, and you need it.
We are both like cyber leftists.
Yes, we are cyber leftists. I like that term.
And I legitimately want. I legitimately want like a modern cyberzone. Mm-hmm. If I get into political power, I will do this. I'm legitimately considering to see if I can do it on a municipal level, but I don't think a planned economy on a municipal level is gonna fly very hard.
Yeah, fair. Like I would argue that a lot of why the Soviet project didn't work is because the technology wasn't there to run a planned economy, and so the middle ground people on it had a power trip, and it led to a oppressive oligarchy. But what's it called? There you go. If you were to like, you know, robotic Leninism, you could it would be a lot nicer.
Mecha Lenin,
including making Mecha Lenin.
That's actually what Lenin wanted when he proposed new economic policy.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why they have them in formaldehydes. They know that like one day when the technology exists, they can add the cybernetic parts and bring him back.
Must crush capitalism. Yeah.
Am I right that they have Stalin like that too? I feel like he was like that and then they got rid of it or something like that.
He got rid of they chucked Stalin. Stalin.
I know they got Mao set up like that.
I don't think Stalin is like that. I think Stalin is just straight up buried.
Okay. Oh, next question here is, there's currently a brouhaha about Chinese interference in Canadian elections. A lot of it is based on Chinese language propaganda targeted at ridings with large Chinese diaspora communities. However, there are a lot of Hindutva propaganda that's aimed at the Indian diaspora in Canada. So by that logic, shouldn't we also be looking into supposed Indian interference in the Canadian elections? Yeah, but India isn't a geopolitical rival of Canada, so therefore synthesize the means of production, future Marxism. Well, thank you, Emperor Tiger Star, for the $2 super chat. The Emperor Tiger Star, thank you for the map guy. Thank you for that. Did you are you up to date on Picard? Imagine no. Imagine
no, not at all.
Okay. Because they did the most recent, not the most recent episode, the last episode had a Ferengi in it named Sneed, and I was like, do they know what they're wading into right now?
Sneed?
Yeah, and then he killed him, so I guess they're gonna have to go back to Chuck's.
No. Sneed. Hold on, isn't Sneed like a...
People did find...
Oh, okay.
Here's the best part, though, is that people have been looking into, like, they have a lot of, like, little tricks, like, little, like Easter eggs and stuff like that. And one of the ones is they had, like, his, like, Sneed's Starfleet intelligence profile, and it had known associates, and one of the known associates was Liquidator Brunt. And I was like, thank you for that.
Nice.
That is the closest they will ever get to acknowledging that Deep Space Nine exists, and I'll take it.
I'll take it, though. Brunt. I love that he's still around in this thing, then.
Yeah.
Somehow.
It's perfect. Yeah, my headcanon, and until they do more Ferengi stuff, it's going to be my headcanon, and that is that Rom has turned the Ferengi Alliance into a Stalinist communist society, and that all of the Ferengi that oppose that have become criminals, and that's why it seems like the only thing they ever do in the Picard timeline is crime.
Like, I want to see the commune. I want to see Ferenginar, the People's Republic of Ferenginar.
What's the deal with Sneed? Well, you see, how long do you have? We have 20 minutes. So There's a TV show called The Simpsons. I loved somebody's someone's doing this this thing now where they do deep fakes of Joe Biden doing speeches, and the best one is him doing a long explanation of Sneeds. Of him describing it. Now you see, because it implies that it was called Chucks, Fucks, and Sucks or whatever. It's like, okay.
Yeah. It is.
Deepfakes are going to be a terrible blight on humanity, but also you get this account that is just making deepfakes of Joe Biden talking about Minecraft.
I love how, like, 10 years... Yeah, like you say, like, 10 years ago, I feel like people were losing their minds a little bit over, like, the dangers of deepfakes, and, like, it's going to be used for, like, misinformation, and they're going to use it to delegitimize politicians. And now we have the technology. We could do those things, but we don't. We spend them on, like, presidents,
we spend them making
Biden,
memes.
Trump, and Obama all playing Minecraft together, and like Joe Rogan playing Fortnite with like Obama, because you can.
Yeah, the only thing that makes the deepfakes not work is that is the major problem, which is that they always depict Joe Biden as doing things that he can't, which is completing full sentences and speaking with any form of energy.
Yeah, he's too articulate.
It's true. But yeah, it's great to see Joe Biden talking about Minecraft. Okay. About him griefing Donald Trump's Minecraft server, I think was one that I saw. Okay. Okay. So here we go. I feel like this is one that you're going to have to help me with more than anything, because I feel like you know way more about this shit than I do. In 73 BCE, Spartacus led a slave revolt. And in 71, the Romans killed Spartacus in battle, spoiler alert, then proceeded to mascara all of his followers. I think they meant massacre. But mascara, I think, is a much funnier answer.
He mascaraed, yeah.
They mascaraed all of his followers. No. Do you think that should be considered a genocide? Historians believe Spartacus' original plan was to go north and set up something like a maroon colony beyond Roman's borders. If he'd done so, his group would have been developed its own unique culture, and it'd be genocide to wipe out that culture. Does it stop being genocide because the Romans wiped them out after like 2 years rather than like 200? I now understand why Noam Chomsky doesn't like the idea of us too flippantly using the definition of genocide, because then this kind of stuff happens. Yeah. Genocide is a very specific term that needs a lot of we need to somehow in discourse understand that mass killing and genocide are, while there is similarities, there are key differences that in some ways some ways calling some things a genocide that aren't are subtracting from the deeper horror that is the explicit targeted killing of an entire group of people. I think that this was a failed slave revolt that resulted in a massacre of the revolters. Because it wasn't like a targeted, systematic, like industrialized destruction of an entire group of people.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if we can do another one. Now that Mia Mulder from MiaMulder.com has appeared on Cringe Corner, do you have any plans to go there to talk about a weird history person/group? Oh yeah, you did Cringe Corner.
I did Cringe Corner. It was very fun. We talked about the lady who doesn't think Rome is real.
I mean, tell it to Spartacus.
Yeah.
All of his troops were masquerade.
No, but like, yeah, it was fun. I mean, I'm not really in control of a Cringe Corner, so like, I don't really feel like I can have plans of coming back with like my own topic.
Just be like Matt, Mildred, Matt. Give me. I found another guy.
God,
I found a guy.
I got something.
You won't
cringe
believe this guy.
history. Yeah, so I don't really have plans in that sense because I don't feel like it's my place to have plans.
But I feel
Yeah.
like Matt at any time would be very happy for you to just go up to him and be like, Matt, I found a guy. I found a new guy.
Yeah. I mean, like, if they want me to come back, then I'd love to. I had a lot of fun, but like, yeah, it's not like a plan that I have.
Oh man. I should petition to go on Cringe Corner for Eric Von Daniken. I feel like I have become.
Please do.
I feel like I've bec. The podcast has given me more than Step Back. The podcast has typecasted me into a very specific part of weird people on the internet. To now, there's no higher calling than for me to talk about Eric Von Daniken on a show called Cringe Corner. Isn't their name Mildred now? So I will say, as a person who is a personal friend of Matt and has sees him like on a weekly basis, that he doesn't have a preference about the name. I have asked, and he doesn't care about pronouns either. I have also asked. So I have asked him what he prefers, and he says he does not give a shit. So I just go by the first name that I was given because it's more it's just easier for that. It's just that's the tag that's in my head. But I have asked to his face, and he said, "No, literally, just do whatever you want."
Bless.
Okay. There was a recent back and forth between Thought Slime and Robert Evans on Twitter. Oh my, Ghost is showing up here. Both were expressing disillusionment with the idea that changing minds via leftist content. Yes, I obviously don't expect you to speak on behalf of Mildred, but do you also feel this way, or do you have optimism about your ability to change minds for the better? I'd have to see the details of the conversation, and I haven't, so I can't really speak to the actual points of these things. You see him once a week. I thought you moved away. Yes, we play Dungeons and Dragons on Discord every week. Except for this week because we played Pathfinder instead. Anyways, what's it called? I haven't seen the episode of It Could Happen Here, and I don't know the details of their conversation because I haven't been on Twitter a lot lately. But
God bless you.
Yeah. But the main, I think that there is an aspect to it. I don't think that I'm like a person. Like, I don't see myself as, even though I am very political and I am very politically inclined, I do see my content primarily as educational content. And I don't see myself as like a sort of like activist on the platform, even though I care a lot about issues and I will support things I care about. But do I think that it's possible to change minds? I don't know. That's my answer is I hope so. But
That's pretty, yeah. I have a pretty similar sort of like outlook. Like if we change minds, that's a good thing, but like that's not the goal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it should be the goal either.
Yeah, every one of us has to face an issue where we realize that the majority of the people who see the stuff that we make are people who already agree with us on the issue, and in many ways we are making content for people who already agree with our positions. And in that case, then it's about giving them interesting things to think about and things to discuss. I think that the kind of work that actually comes with like bringing people over it's tough because it's very much like kind of like how I disagree that there are people who are de-radicalizing fascists through saying the N-word on Twitch, but that's a different conversation. But the idea is that a lot of like changing someone's political beliefs is a long and personal process that I think the more you try to act like you are actively changing somebody's mind, the less they will listen to you. And so I try to just give the information that is out there, and hopefully, people will learn from that. That's why I think the best way to do it is to teach, and that's what I try to do. I think that's what you try to do.
Yeah.
But I do know that like I'm not going to be the one person who changes some people's minds. Well, I've gotten a couple emails to that extent, but I think that it's a very gradual and personal process that takes more than just content. All right. Why is Canada more liberal than the USA? Is Canada's and the Netherlands progressive veneer just that a fake facade? I think that a lot of it has to do with Canada being its self-identity is so based on downward comparison with the United States. The main thing is that Canada wasn't as rich a country, so in the 1950s and 60s, we kind of went along with Europe with building a basic civil society when America didn't. And a lot of the things that makes Canadians think that we're more liberal than America is because we just have some of the basic systems that most other countries have. That I think is the main bit. Sorry, I need some questions that you can dig into. How much would UBI, the good come with rent control, do to alleviate the concerns of AI taking jobs? There you go. There's a Mia question.
Sorry, what did you say?
How much would a UBI that also included things like rent control do to alleviate the concerns of AI taking jobs?
I mean, I feel like that's a really difficult question that really depends on like a lot of factors.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's too many unknown variables for me to like give a good answer to that.
I think that the only way that you could say is that UBI could be one of the tools that you use to mitigate the damage of AI taking away careers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It is one of the tools. It definitely feels like one of the panic button last like what's it called? Like last choice desperate things that the capitalist world will do to try and defend capitalism when its contradictions get too bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it might kind of be hearkened to like the Great Compromise of the 1950s and 1960s, which is basically what I was just talking about, where all the countries set up basic civil services in order to sort of deal with the contradictions of capitalism. I don't know. I mean, it's
No, but that sounds pretty like, yeah, like I think it's like I'm pro UBI generally, but I also think that it's one of those things that's like it's not a solution. It's like a band-aid to other structural issues, right?
Also, thank you, Emperor Tiger Star, for another $2 super chat, and says one mind change is greater than never fighting misinformation or bad info. I agree with that. A lot of my work is about fighting misinformation and bad information. Hence the podcast. All right. Let's see. All right. Here's a podcast question. Maybe this will be a good one. I know you both have podcasts as side gigs. Hell yeah. Go Leech Fest. It's probably not aliens.
It's not aliens. Probably not aliens. That's what it's called.
Suppose either of your podcasts got really big, then you found out your co-host was doing something really bad and inappropriate. Do you think you'd have the integrity to call them out and most likely give up a major source of income? Damn, just all of the hardest questions ever. These are like the questions you do when you're like stoned and it's like 4 a.m.
I feel like I'm in a relationship with my podcast host.
Yeah, there'd be more issues at hand in your case.
Yeah, so like if I found out that like my co-host was doing something like unacceptably bad, that would cause problems. That would cause problems that are bigger than the podcast or like content-wise.
Leechfest would not be the highest priority there. Yeah.
No, like my sort of like public persona and like content identity is not like the highest priority in that case.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my answer is I would hope I would. The idea of Scott doing something really bad and inappropriate is actually kind of amusing to me. The sweetest of boys.
Yeah.
This, like, the guy's made of cotton candy, but I hope that I would do the right thing. There you go. The answer is I hope so. I hope I'm that good of a person.
It's one of those things that like that it's impossible to know until you're actually in the situation, which really fucking sucks.
It's a test of character. Okay, I'm gonna try and I'm gonna kind of skip. The next question I got here is about some UFO U.S. history stuff, so I'm gonna bring that up next time because I don't want to. I want to delve into something. I want to get as much Mia stuff in as possible. Mia, the other day you went on Thought Slime's podcast to talk about the strange lady who thinks that Rome didn't exist.
Strange quarter. Yes.
You made fun of her for using the term Rome bro.
I did.
I don't want to defend her, but is it not the case that there is actually some far-right people who stand the Roman Empire? I mean, to my understanding, it's like the Mediterranean version of Scandinavian fascists obsessing over Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, sure, there are Rome bros that we would probably call Rome bros, but she calls anyone who believes in the concept of the Roman Empire a Rome bro.
Rome
it's like
bro is
calling...
an objectively funny name. To call
yes, it's like calling someone a globe head.
Yeah, if there like the thing is, if there was like, it's sort of like if there were fascists who made a big deal out of their beliefs in a round world, but then also flat earthers were like calling them globe heads, you'd be like, well, it's kind of funny. Globe head is funny.
Yeah. So like yes, there are sort of like Rome bros in that sense, but like that's not what she's talking about.
The Roman Empire.
That's why it's called that.
Yeah, someone said Caesar's Legion are the Rome bros.
Bromulus and Bremus founded the city of Brome.
The sun never sets on the Romulan Star Empire.
Playthrough to do.
The Romulan Star Empire. It's objectively funny to call somebody a globehead. I agree.
It is.
Oh boy. Okay. I think that we are. All right. We don't have any questions that can be answered in the 2 minutes we have left. So I would say I'm going to give you the floor to say, Mia, tell us where all of your things are. All of them.
All of my things. Shit. If you go to miamolder.com, you can find my YouTube page. It's still not a website because I'm overworked and I haven't had time. And you can find the podcast of which I am a co-host by searching Leech Fest on any podcasting listening service. That's Leech Fest, one word. It's a medical history podcast. It's pretty good. What else do I fucking do? I play video games occasionally on twitch.tv/miamolder. Me and Salem of the podcast occasionally stream games on twitch.tv/leechfest. Nebula.tv/miamolder if you want to watch me on the service where I make more money from you watching my videos. And something else probably, but I forgot. I'm gonna go with that.
Just write Mia Mulder into Google and you'll find things, and just click on every link and buy anything that she recommends, and there you go. That's just what's it called? Just email Mia Mulder your direct deposit information, or
you can if you Google my name, like some people will find like a book that I contributed a poem to like 15 years ago or something.
Buy her poetry book. Buy
Mia's poetry book.
Buy Mia's poetry book. So you can get
vote in my municipal elections.
Yeah.
Pay taxes to me.
Pay to Mia directly. Like if you write in your check just that you're paying for Mia Mulder and nothing else in your taxes. In fact, instead of paying your taxes, just give all the money that you would give to taxes to her Patreon. It's perfect.
to my Patreon.
That's how
you do it.
We're going. Oh, today is a joyous day because we are going to be able to raid the one, the only Casey Explosion.
That's fun.
Yeah. So I'll be back next week. You guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'm going to go edit video now.
Yeah.
Bye.